Hello everybody, I'm Kohler and welcome to our show Inside Green, where we will be bringing you interviews with city directors and people who help keep our community safe and growing. We're filming from the TV studio right here inside Green High School as part of our TV production class, and today I'm sitting with Mrs. Valerie Wolford, the communications director for the city of Green.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for doing these.
Absolutely. First, could you please tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Valerie Wolford. I'm the communications manager for the city of Green, and I have been with the city going on 15 years. So I was the first communications manager and has built the team from there.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role as the city communications director and what you do and what it entails?
Sure. So the communications team is responsible for amplifying the messages and the information that the city is sharing. So that's whatever department. So if it's a parks event, we're helping promote our different parks event. If we're doing a construction project like the Massillon Road South construction project, we're sharing information of the changes that are going on so that the public is informed. So, extrapolate that onto all the departments. That is really our role, is to be the mouthpiece for the city.
That makes sense. In what ways do you utilize various communication channels such as social media or press releases to engage with your residents?
So in today's communications world, it is harder than ever to meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
Before, when I went to college, media relations was your workhorse, and you went and used your third-party media to help share your message. Well, today that has shrunk. We still do some of that, but that is not the main way we get our information out. Social media is where most people get their information, so that is a big chunk of what we do. We also maintain our website, and we have an e-newsletter that goes out twice a month, and we do a printed newsletter. I brought some of these today, the Our Town newsletter that comes out 3 times a year. We do a magazine once a year, so we try to use a bunch of different tools because how people get their information is individual to them.
Yeah. So how would you handle communication to the residents in some maybe emergency situation or a time of crisis?
So crisis, another term for it is issues management. The difference is crisis falls upon you and you aren't necessarily know it's coming. Issue, you see it's coming. And that's really where communications is key. I mean, communications key is in both spots, but for the communications department when issues arise. So, for example, COVID was an issue. We kind of saw that train coming over the course of several months before it came to Ohio, and March 2020 happened, and all things kind of shut down. So communications was a key role in helping our community. And basically the rules of communication in a crisis is you want to share information quickly, you want to share accurate information, and you want to let people know where they can get more information. So that was really our role, and we were sending out e-newsletters daily for about 6 weeks, just taking a bunch of different information from Summit County Public Health, from the Ohio Health Department, from the CDC, and trying to get the information that was most accurate to share with people, because at that time the world was in crisis and people needed a place to go that would help them find the most accurate information.
I know you just said about the 6-week e-newsletters. What are some other measures that you would take to ensure transparency and accessibility to your communications?
So those are big buzzwords in a lot of the industries, and there's a lot of information actually in communications that I've been reading about and studying. So accessibility right now and being more accessible to those with disabilities is becoming really in the forefront of communications right now. So there's things like making sure that our social media and our website are ADA compliant for screen readers. So that's just one little piece. Transparency is, a really big umbrella term that says, if I need information, accurate information from my city, where do I go to get that? So our clearinghouse for most of that information is on our website, and then there's information that we push out as appropriate and usually related to something that people are talking about.
That makes sense. With the rise of social media and other digital communications platforms, how do you address has such issues like misinformation or rumors that spread within the community?
Yes. So probably the hardest thing that the communications field is dealing with right now, and will for many years, is misinformation and disinformation. And you know, misinformation is I'm getting the information wrong. Somebody is sharing, and this happens on social media all the time. I heard from my neighbor something, and just like the telephone game, right? By the time it gets to the third person, it's usually wrong. So that's disinformation is when somebody is actually trying to propagate information that's false or a different narrative than what may be true. So it's the hardest thing that we do as communicators, and one of the things, how you combat that is you start with facts. Here are the facts. Here's where to go to get more information. Another third party that people trust, perhaps. So if it's a health issue, you would go to something like the CDC or the Cleveland Clinic or some other, you know, well-known source that is a legitimate source for information, and you try to, you know, diffuse and give people an avenue to find information for themselves.
Looking maybe ahead instead of in the past, what are some upcoming projects or initiatives that the communications department is putting together that we can look forward to?
So this year, the communications department will be reskinning our website. Fancy, not even a fancy word. Essentially, we're redesigning the website so it's going to look and feel a little different. The navigation behind it will stay pretty much the same. The content will stay the same, but just like fashion changes over time,
stuff could always use a
you need a little refresh. So it's been 5 years, so that's one of the things that people will see later in the year. You're going to see a refresh of that. We've refreshed the design, and it's coming out. Should be hitting mailboxes next week of the Our Town, so it's a refresh look. We have a new mayor this year, so we decided this is the year to kind of give everything a little fresh look to it. So that's probably the thing people will notice the most.
Finally, to hand the floor over to you, is there anything else that you have for our viewers or you would like them to know?
Yeah, so we're pushing information out in all the ways that we can to try to reach people where they're at. We ask that people try to engage with us. So sign up for our e-newsletter. You know, follow us on the social channels that you prefer. Our main social channel that we have the most followers is Facebook. Makes sense based on the demographics of our community. We're trying to build our Instagram because we do know that younger people. I mean, younger people is up to 40 now. I think on Instagram is that demographic. We also have a LinkedIn page to meet with our businesses and people that engage with the city on a professional level. So those are the avenues that we're asking people to follow us. We're asking people to sign up for e-newsletter, sign up for text messaging. You can find all that information on our website on how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for being here today, and I would also like to thank our audience for tuning in, and be sure to look out for our next episode of Inside Green.